welcome back. So, every now and then, you come across a leader who does not just shape a space, they create one. A space where experts, professionals, and partners really learn, grow, and lead with both excellence and purpose. Today, we are honored to sit down with Jim McConnaughey, the founding partner of McConnaughey, Coonrod, Weaver, and Stern. Additionally, he is the chairman and founding partner of the Workers' Comp Institute, as we all know and love as the WCI Conference, that provides educational spaces to professionals in the workers' comp and risk management industry. So we are very honored, myself, Elise White, president of Change Forward Industries, as well as Ron Simmons, pastor of Designers Way, to sit down and get into a really awesome and powerful conversation with Jim. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Elise, and thanks for the invitation. I appreciate the kind comments.
We were talking right before we got into this call. The whole purpose of the Trust Talks conversation is really to get to the heart of TrustWorks and what it really is. And Jim, you have been building this vision that you said, unbeknownst to you, has been about 40 years of a buildup. But at the WCI conference, you've had an opportunity to really work with so many and see so many different kind of workplaces, bring people together. So we just want to hear from you. Like, what have you seen over the years that makes you believe a program like TrustWorks is needed right now, and even into the development of it?
Well, I do believe in TrustWorks, and I believe that it's time for a closer look at it. And my feelings have been an evolutionary process that has resulted from some of the successes that we've realized with the Workers' Compensation Conference. And who would have known that this evolution would have occurred over the years, and who could have appreciated, and certainly I didn't, what it really means and the successes that have been realized as a result of the same feelings that we and Charles and your corporation have been involved with, and moving forward with TrustWorks. Uh, our, as I said, my thought process evolution has been over the past 40 years. In the 40 years, approximate 40 years, was when we were first asked by the Division of Workers' Compensation to assume responsibility for the Workers' Compensation Conference. The conference had been going on for a long time, had been a success, and had created a lot of attention, but primarily as a annual party,
Mm-hmm.
uh, in concerning and involving those in the workers' compensation industry. But we assumed that responsibility because the state got tired of it. They got tired of trying to put it on each year. Huge responsibility, and they just gave out of energy. And so they decided to give it to us. And so us being a committee, not just myself, there were a lot of people involved with moving forward with the process that had been, the successes that had been realized in the past with the Workers' Compensation Conference. So we did. We assumed responsibility for the conference. It did increase substantially over the years. The initial organization was the Florida Workers' Compensation Institute. That was changed to the Workers' Compensation Institute and gave it a more national focus,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which, quite frankly, was something that we had not thought of, but somehow we were being led down the process, or the road of creating a bigger footprint, if you will, and what we were trying to do. Our first outreach program was the event called Give Kids the World. And Give Kids the World is we, as I said, organized as a nonprofit, reorganized as a national workers' compensation institute, and then moved forward with nonprofit status that we decided at some time subsequent to our assuming responsibility for the conference to change the focus some, moving away from the party event each year to getting involved with giving back to the communities that we all were a part of. Just open our eyes even further, and somebody or something is leading us to what we're trying to accomplish. And what we're trying to identify is the goodness in people. And we are a good society. We are people that thrive on helping others. And we're beginning to realize this in ways that had nothing to do with workers' comp.
And this is what TrustWorks addresses, and this is what you're talking about. It's realizing that work is not just about productivity, but it can also be about being trustworthy. And that the reality for all people, regardless of religious background, is trust is a factor that every human being needs and desires in other human beings. And the model that we have built TrustWorks around is the model of building people up to become trustworthy individuals in the workplace. And it just so happens that we use some biblical principles to describe the kind of characteristics that really help you to be a trustworthy person. And we believe that there's an intersection between being trustworthy amongst those who are your employers, but also being trustworthy amongst those who are your coworkers. And that when you are a trusted person in both of those realms, that really does strengthen your personal brand, and it raises your corporate equity, and it makes you somebody in the company who people look to and want to look to, who people depend on, find dependable, who people ultimately trust. And it really is kind of what we've built this program around.
And the first nonprofit that we chose to help support was Give Kids a Whirl. Give Kids a Whirl is a wonderful organization. It is located in Orlando, Florida, and it's focused on helping children and their family who are suffering from life-threatening medical problems that were precluding a normal life expectancy. And we had, for the first couple of years, a whopping 40 people show up, which was consistent with what we thought was going to happen, because we'd never done anything of a charitable nature. We'd never been involved with something like this. We had never been associated with doing something for the communities and doing something for other people. The first 40 that showed up probably did consist of members of our law firm, which I forced to come, and the Marriott Hotel personnel that were there probably because of the fact that we were a good customer, and they sent some people to help, and that was it. And fast forward 3 or 4 years up until the time of COVID, and we were not 40 strong, but we had 1,200 come out to help volunteer to
I've
clean
seen
up.
that actually in person. It's buses upon buses of people who come. Yeah.
We were bringing volunteers out to help. We had like 18 or 19 buses that transported the volunteers from all over Orlando, from all over, actually, Central Florida, to volunteer for this organization. And it was a rounding success. We then got into forming a gala, creating a gala for fundraising, and last 2 years ago, actually, we actually passed the $1 million mark of giving to that organization. Last year, we were $1.2 million that we'd given to them, or something that somebody directed us to do that, and I'm not exactly sure I know I know in afterthought who was telling us or directing us in that direction. So all of a sudden, we began to realize that there are a lot of good people in our industry. There are a lot of good people that we didn't know about. Our industry, and you probably know this, Lee, is very adversarial. Everybody's trying to at each other's throat, it seems like, and everybody was involved with litigating and how can we can take advantage of somebody and how can we take advantage of a situation to the benefit of our clients or to whoever we're working for. So it's a very adversarial type of scenario, but to see this kind of outreach from people in our industry was an absolute shock to many of us. And we realized that there are a lot of good people in our industry. There are a lot of good people that we didn't realize. Sometimes they're hard to find, but all of a sudden we found them.
Right.
And so the successes that we realized from just that one project made us really feel confident that we could continue with what we had set up, which we had tried to create, and which we were moving forward with, having nothing to do with what we were created for. And yet, we were finding these people with a soul. We were finding these people that you could never, you're digging a ditch to help against the world with your adversary on the other side. Usually an attorney fighting an attorney. Well, that's all it seemingly these days is fight. And yet we were able to get along, and yet we all were able to prove that we were something special. And so we chose another charitable organization, and this one involved a National Humane Society outreach program that was located in Orlando, and their responsibilities were, or their focus was on responding to natural disasters around the world, and they would go in like a hurricane in the Bahamas. This is an example of what they would do. They would go in, and nobody thinks about the dogs and cats that are left following a hurricane. What's happening to the dogs and cats?
Mm-hmm.
So they go in, they pick up all the dogs and cats from, as I said, the Bahamas when they had their hurricane, and they bring them back. They treat the animals, and they find homes for them. It's a wonderful organization, and something that again demonstrated to us that we were serving that community of needs with people that we had no idea had those kind of same feelings about wanting to help, wanting to be a part of a solution. They are good people, and again, our choice of trying to find people that would volunteer was easier. Started very small, and all of a sudden we got a whole booth at the conference related to the Humane Society of Orlando. It's called officially something else, but that's what they're charged with. We have an exhibit booth with dogs and cats, of all things.
Right.
Connect that with workers' compensation. I don't know who connected. I know who connected with us, but who would ever think that there would be this public outreach of people that were demonstrating that they were really good people? And so it worked. And again, we were able to find a group of people in an industry that was certainly not desirous of helping others, all of a sudden demonstrating that they do have a soul, they do have willingness to get involved, they do have time to spend with these types of activities, raising money and whatever else is necessary for the growth of something that they thought was something special, something that was needed. So we got really industrious, and we decided to continue on with this reaching out, having nothing to do with workers' compensation. was a telltale uh, experience, I guess, for a lot of people at the conference. The conference, by the way, was continuing to grow, and this outreach of wanting to help others was taking an effect on the number of people that were coming to the conference as a whole. So it was a positive kind of a relationship for for a lot of personal meetings, but at the same time, it was being something of benefit to a lot of people,
Mhm.
and the realization that we really do have some good people in this world. Sometimes they're hard to find, and we're beginning to find them. It seems like we find them every year. Um, uh, but then we went into we partnered with another organization known as Kids Chance, and sometimes people get into agreements with other organizations, realizing that they have a contact with an industry or with a particular uh, uh, charity that we don't have. So, but we'll help them uh, with their focus, with their interest, with their concerns. And Kids Chance is an example. Kids Chance is a scholarship program, Pastor Ron, for children of injured workers
Yep.
who, whose parents cannot afford to send them for schooling or educational opportunities post high school because of their injury. And many of them can't work. Many of them have the inability to attend college or any professional training program. Doesn't have to be college, but a lot of them are. And so, what they did was locate these individuals who were the children of injured workers, and we would provide them scholarship money. And we're continuing to do that. They are, but we're supporting them. Um, we turned over our golf tournament. We have a golf tournament as part of the conference, and to them and let them run it. Let them get all the registration profits and expand the golf tournament and to help them in their raising of funds to support these scholarships and to see the enthusiasm that group had when they latched on to this golf tournament, having nothing to do with workers' comp, except it was held at the conference, totally off base on what we were created for. But something that is really thrilling to us to see these kinds of successes reach out and be accomplished. Uh, but finally, we decided to get involved with something that, again, has nothing to do with workers' compensation, and probably something that would never have been considered with this conference, uh, and with, quite frankly, uh, unthinkable uh, 40 years ago. And that's involved with a prayer breakfast. Uh, Never would I have guessed that when we assumed responsibility for this party conference, that, that a prayer breakfast would be considered.
Mm.
But it was. And the successes, I think you can begin to appreciate now uh, uh, that it has been a success. Uh, the first prayer breakfast consisted of 8 people having breakfast in a hotel cafeteria. Um, and probably the same content that first participated in Give Kids the World. Uh, from that 8, and I'm not even sure how long the prayer breakfast has been going on. Last year, of course, we were far in excess of 8. Last year, We had over 150 people come to that prayer breakfast. An astounding number. We ran out of food, as I recall. We ran out of space. We're having to get more space this year. Uh, and again, we recognize that there are a lot of good people in this world. And there are a lot of people that we never thought would be a part of what we were trying to accomplish in organizing that conference. Uh, Never would it have been considered 40 years ago. But here we were, creating a scenario that we were really hitting some hot spots that had faith, faith types of thought processes were occurring. Uh, we were introduced to Pastor Ron. Somebody did that, and I think I know who did that. But all of a sudden, you know, here's this Pastor Ron. We never heard of Ron Simmons before. I had not, except a football player. I told him.
Right. Everybody knows him.
But we were brought together, and all of a sudden, Ron Simmons, Pastor Ron, was the center focus of what we were trying to accomplish. Never realizing that we thought we would stay at that 8 forever. We didn't, and this year probably it's going to be even bigger. Again, something drawing us to what we were beginning to see develop that had proven to be successful previously with all these other events. There were other charitable events that we got involved with, but all of a sudden we were seeing the interest and the realization that there were a lot of people at that conference that thought just like we did. And whoever would have thought that or appreciated that, we were totally flabbergasted until Pastor Ron came along. And then we knew we had a winner. And the winners have been reflected in the number and the activities that have occurred since Pastor Ron became involved with what we're trying to do. Groups were being formed outside of the conference. I know somebody, or at least was a part of this outreach. So they formed their own committee to talk on a weekly basis about some of the issues that we have and try to get involved and try to do things for other people. We began meeting other employers that had a program like this, but we were trying to promote. That were just blown away with what they were doing. We didn't know that, and all of a sudden, this whole movement forward in realizing who we were dealing with, and we didn't know who we were dealing with until I think Pastor Ron came along. But it happened.
Jim, I see something really interesting in your story, and I'm glad that I've heard the full story and your perspective of how the conference at WCI has evolved, what we're seeing. I think it's incredibly interesting how you say, okay, we have this industry that is largely built on and founded on all of this kind of adversarial like behavior. I mean, you've got lawyers involved, and you've got law issues involved, and you've got people's feelings, people being injured. You have all of these things involved in this largely kind of pugilistic by nature industry. And then you said, but we were doing these outreach events that showed that within this industry that largely looks very much like the world in many ways, we saw that there were actually people with really good hearts. And that, I think, is interesting, number one. But you talked about all these events that are not necessarily related to the industry that just continue to show that, man, there are people with really good hearts here. And then to where we are today, as we talk about TrustWorks, it reminds me of like a cycle that you would go through with farming or something like this, where you started out with a few good people, and now you're actually coming back full circle, because what we're doing in TrustWorks is we're trying to develop people in regard to character in the workplace that kind of feeds back into what you started with, and essentially trying to grow that even more within the industry that of WCI, all the folks in the workers' compensation industry and wherever else that TrustWorks may touch. But I think that's kind of what I see in your story, this uh, kind of circle that started with good people, but ultimately is coming back to try to strengthen more and bring more good people, or develop kind of character in people, specifically in the workplace, as we talk about bringing faith into the workplace. And I really see the progression of all of this. And I really believe, Jim, as you've been saying, that this is not an accident. You know, God is he's intentional in his sovereignty and how he does what he does. And I think that you guys just feeling led to do all of the things you did, and how all of this is coming full circle at this point, I think it is evidence that there is an intelligent designer behind it all. And I'm thankful, Jim, that you've kind of brought me and brought Elise into this. In fact, that's one of the other questions I want to ask you. Well, I want to think about. I want you to maybe talk about the why when you thought about wanting to bring faith into the workplace in a deeper way, and you pulled Elise into this and you pulled myself into this. What was really the why behind that?
Well, I just think that the why initially, honestly, is maybe this would draw more people to the conference.
Hmm.
But what happened was, and it did, what happened, at least in my mind, is although it did bring more people to the conference, maybe, something brought them. We started from 500 to 7,000. Something brought them to the conference. Um, but I just think, honest to goodness, that so many people in our society today, real, and especially today, uh, that they really have some really good intention. They have a soul. They have a willingness to want to help, and and uh, and they're not, and somehow we're not encouraging them to be a part of this effort. Um, my computer keeps going wacko. Uh, so I really, it's refreshing to me to know that we have these kinds of people in our society today, especially today, as I said. And it hadn't always been that way, but it certainly is now. And that's why this is a timely, right now, process that needs to happen. Uh, and now we are beginning to see your new program release as a further expansion of what has proved to be a success in the past. We know it's going to be successful because we've seen it. It's going to take some time, and I keep telling Elise this: don't get too frustrated. The first year, and to you, Pastor Ron, don't think for a second that just because what happened the first year you put this on is and the success was moderate. Uh,
Mhm.
that's going to That's going to be the future. But we know it takes time. We know from facts that
Mhm.
our involvement has been over the years that these types of activities, knowing who our population is, knowing that we have good people,
Yep.
that we have people that want to be involved, that we have a thought process, that people, our faith thought process is in our industry. And if it's in our industry, my gosh, it's become, and as bad a people as we are, look what can be accomplished with what
Wow.
you're trying to do. So I am a supporter of what you're doing, big time. And I know it's going to work. And I know with the leadership that is being provided, it's going to happen. And the faith belief is something, uh, uh, something that we all believe in. I think faith belief and what's going on in the workplace and are synonymous.
Yeah.
And we really do think that way. And we really do think that our involvement in this type of activity and promotion is something that we need to be supportive of, especially during this time. I think that faith, the faith thinkers, think just like everybody else does, to a large extent. There are exceptions, uh, but I think you have hit on to a business plan that is certainly needed. I think I think we have the opportunity to really make this a successful endeavor, and and I'm all for it. And whatever I can do to support it, and whatever I can do to recommend participation, I'm on the team. I think we can learn. I think we all can learn. What each of us feel and understand, even for the the non-believers and the believers. We a common ground. I think that we know what's right, and we know how we can help. We know what is important, and we can learn from each other. I think Pastor Ron understands that. Sometimes I don't think the same way as he does as far as Christian music is concerned. You know, the theme, I can't even remember what it's called now, but I like old time gospel songs.
Right.
And that's not the focus of Pastor Ron and his following. But yet, we all have this faith belief that we're going in the right direction, and that we've got some good people that we want to help
Mm.
in the way that we're going. And so that's why I just fully support what you guys are doing, and whatever I can do to help, count me in.
Yeah.
Because somebody is pushing me along.
That's right. That's
Not
right.
only not only Pastor Ron and your followers at least, but the whole community really
Yeah.
does. Uh, you'd be, I was shocked at what I was had seen,
Mm.
and I think I'm not sure why I doubted that, but somehow knowing from whence that conference came uh, to where we are now is just something that was never really appreciated until just recently, actually. So
Wow.
that's my story, and that's why I'm involved with it, and that's why I want to participate, and whatever I can do to help you guys move forward with it. Um, as proof that it works. That's what I think we need, or many need, to make this a success. That what you're doing will work. It'll take time, and Alicia's not. She wants this to happen immediately, and I would love to see it. But don't be fazed by the fact that it's going to take time.
I get
Uh,
that.
but somebody needs to be able to tell industry that this is legitimate, that this is
Mm.
something that it will work. It has worked in my life, and it can work in their lives to the
Mm.
betterment of their business, to the
Yeah.
betterment of their business experience, to the better of their employment.
Yeah.
Um, and um, and that message is somebody is best done. I'm absolutely convinced by Pastor Ron.
And we believe that the more people who we can share that with, then the more corporate environments become different, the more employees, co-workers, and employers feel a sense of difference around them and amongst the people that they're with. And we really believe, as you've said, that even after this first year, as we roll this out at WCI, we don't know how many people we'll see, but we do believe that in the years to come, we'll see more people and that this will have an impact that reverberates. And hopefully, Jim, that it becomes something in your lifetime that you'll look at and say, hey, I was the beginning of that. But the impact that it will have, we hope, would really be great.
Yeah. So, well, it's not me. It's somebody else.
I understand. That's true.
100%.
But yeah, I can only say that this approach, this trustworthy approach, works. And I've seen it work. And that's what employers, I think, need is a realization that what they're trying, that what they're getting involved with will work for the betterment of their company. For what? For the better of the conference, it'll work. For the better of the company, it'll work. And so it's like finding a solution and with proof that it works.
Yeah.
And that's what I think the comp convention has done to this whole concept. And bringing faith into the workplace is not just having a prayer breakfast every morning, reading the Bible at a certain time during the workday. It's far more than that. And it's as a matter of fact, you know, some people are turned off of that with that kind of stuff. But if you see positive results, if you feel good, if you really feel like you're accomplishing something, if you understand that your employer and your employment is meaningful, that's far. You're doing it in a different way, like you're talking about. But more importantly, I think it's more creative, and it's a way that let them decide. Let them being the employees decide whether they feel better, and they will.
Yeah.
And whether they're more excited, and they will. Some of our committees with the outreach program are just beyond excited, and they're just thrilled to be a part of it. And fortunately or unfortunately, Conference kind of taking a back seat. It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, we're doing something that's. But if I can show people, employers, it works, then maybe they're more likely to accept the fact that they need to be involved with something like this too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Well, we're honored to bring it to life and launch at the WCI conference, especially with how the evolution of helping people, finding good people in this. I kind of coined what you said early on, the shift from parties to purpose at this annual convention, and furthering into that purpose through TrustWorks is something we're very excited to be a part of. And
yeah. So
I like that. From parties to purpose.
parties to purpose, for sure.
we were a partying bunch. Still are.
Yeah.
And that's still, and those things, both things could be true for sure, right? But you find these good people through these purpose events, these purpose-led events.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I mean, it was just mind-boggling to me that how in the world we could go in this direction and be so successful. And it is, anyway, I've said it numerous times, but it's a new way of looking at it, and I'm delighted.